Okay. Greetings, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. And it is time for more movie reviews. I don't know if we had all the movie reviews. I know I did these online ones of them, at least in print, of the Hunger Games films. Since the latest one has come out, the quadrology, not trilogy, the quadrology is finished. So I thought that I would do a sort of a recap of all four of them. I decided to go back and review my first attempt, which was from, looks like March 2012 was the first movie. And yeah, the Hunger Games is a Susan Collins book series, dystopian series. Take two. I'm going to review the quadrology, not a trilogy, quadrology of the Hunger Games, because of the recent release of the fourth and final chapter. The Gary Ross movie from 2012 in March was reviewed on my Kal Kat's Reviews website, and there probably is a video review of it somewhere as well that goes with it. But I probably didn't do the other two. I might have done the second to last one, but I'm going to do all four of them in sort of a recap here since it's all done. The Susan Collins book series, when I did this review, I hadn't read them, so I had no idea what I was getting into. I had read Battle Royale, and I'd seen the movie, so I was like, wait a minute, it's kind of like Battle Royale. In which all of the Hunger Games fans would then immediately go, no, it's not, it's completely different. Well, in execution, I suppose, in the premise, it's exactly the same. The two stories are basically Survivor, but people die. It took the reality TV idea of putting a bunch of people on an island and have them kill each other. Both of those movies do that. And both of those books do that. Both of them are evil adults are trying to destroy the children by putting them on an island to kill each other, like Lord of the Flies. The difference is that Battle Royale, the Japanese version, is a not really version, but the Japanese story, dystopian story, is darker, more twisted, and society has crumbled as a result of the children having somehow driven the adults insane so that they have to get rid of them in like concentration camps and then ship them off to the island to die, to battle each other to the death. Yeah, so that's a little different. In the Hunger Games, it is a dystopian future America about 300 years from now, after the world has been obliterated somehow, possibly as a result of some kind of nuclear war, and possibly also elements of global climate change, and what's left of the United States of America has become Panem, a country of 12 districts with the capital located roughly in the city of Denver, because all the major cities on the coast have been destroyed, and everybody's kind of gathered around Colorado, basically. The irony is that District 13, which is allegedly blown off the map, is New York, or possibly the Washington, Delaware, New York area, what's left of the upper part of New York. So that centers into the other books later. Having read the books after doing the first review, figured that out. The story is that this evil capital organization is run by a snaky evil guy named Snow, who is called a president, but he's a king. He's a dictator. And he keeps everyone in line with an iron fist. And the way he does this is he holds a gladiatorial games, like reality TV, called the Hunger Games, in which he selects tributes from each colony, these little 12 states, to participate in the games and kill each other. The same story. The capital, though, in the story is very high tech and appears to be set up as roughly mid-21st century technology, a little bit further along than now, but stuck there in that technology. Yeah, but the yeah, in the first movie, the kitty cat that Katniss' sister Primrose has, the cat is in the book described as an orange cat. It looks like Crookshanks from Harry Potter, but without the shanks, it's the ears that are messed up. One of the ears is ticked, and it's all scruffy. They made it a tuxedo cat in the movie. In the first movie, all the others, Susan Collins wrote in, I guess, and said, no, change it, make it a tabby again, which makes an interesting plot error, because then when they go to section 13 and the final 2 books, then it's like, well, how the cat is a completely different cat? No wonder Prim is surprised to see it. It's not the same cat. They could have thrown some dialogue in there saying, well, actually, this is one of her other cats, I guess. But in the book, it's supposed to be the cat. It's supposed to be this scruffy cat. Well, that's there. So the scruffy cat. So, anyway. So the cat. So the Hunger Games. It's a dystopian story. Jennifer Lawrence is the main star. We also have Woody Harrelson and Donald Sutherland and a host of other people chewing scenery the whole time. We have here. Everybody in the story seems to enjoy chewing scenery and doing whatnot. The last 2 were, of course, had a death on the set, apparently off the set. Philip Seymour Hoffman, who used to play Capote a long time ago in the Truman Capote show, one of the Capote movies, he died of a drug overdose during production of the last 2 movies, and they had to basically put the last 7 days of filming that he had left as a get somebody else. So they gave the dialogue to Hamish, who's kind of, or Woody Harrelson's character, who's kind of very similar. I'm trying to figure out who that lady that was chewing the scenery is. I'll look up the next review and find out who that is. But there was quite a lot of scenery chewing. The adults thoroughly enjoyed being the reality TV evil people in this. They enjoyed the craft of the movie. If anything, enjoy watching them act. The acting is just on point. It's pretty cool in terms of acting, and sometimes overacting. Even though Donald Sutherland, like the cat, is not like described in the book. In the book, he's described as snaky and oily, and I think Susan Collins, I keep saying Stefan, but I mean Susan. Susan Collins described him as snake-like, skinny, and oily. She was describing him as Steve Buscemi, or maybe Kevin Spacey, back when he was skinnier. Steve Buscemi would have been perfect. But Donald Sutherland's kind of chunky. He doesn't really look the part. Yeah, he just doesn't. Maybe even like Kevin Spacey before he was a little bigger. Back in the day. But yeah, not Donald Sutherland. Well, he does a good job playing him, but he's just not quite right for that part. I didn't think. So Hunger Games. And the first one was introduction to Jennifer Lawrence. Now she's in everything, especially with De Niro movies, trying to get Oscars. And I like it that this particular actress isn't the glamour queen type of actress. She looks like everyone else, which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. She doesn't look like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She just looks like an average girl. I think that's a good casting there, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, in makeup she looks glamorous, but that's cool. I like that. How they did that. The internet people didn't like that when they tried to make up like naughty bits about her and so forth. They were like, well, they discovered she was 21 when the first movie came out, so they were like, "Oh darn it!" And they didn't want to make any like off on guard stuff about her on the internet, with that Rule 34 stuff or whatever. But yeah, it's out there. But yeah, and then later on there were some nudes that appeared of her, and she said like, well actually, I'll take those myself or something. Okay, and then she appeared in Maxim, but it's like yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, she's kind of an odd duck, but that's a good thing. But yes, I don't take that personally, Jennifer. You just we are too. The Kal Kat show is one of the weirdest video shows around, but yeah, it's all good. But yes, the Hunger Games. So obviously, the target audience is teenage girls, so it probably is weird that a 40-something dude was watching it. But there fortunately were others. It wasn't just me watching. Not necessarily because they were thinking of Rule 34, but because they wanted to see an action movie with a bunch of teenagers killing themselves. It's like watching a horror movie from back in the 80s. So I'm going to go on to movie 2, Hunger Games 2, Catching Fire. And since I didn't say much about part 1, I kind of already said it just now. So I'm going to go on to Catching Fire, 2013 movie Catching Fire, which was the sequel to The Hunger Games. The sequel. In the Catching Fire, they go to another Hunger Games, and another group. We get to meet Philip Seymour Hoffman, and the director is a guy named Francis Lawrence, who is not related to Jennifer Lawrence. And and he takes us to the last 3 movies. The character who chews scenery is Elizabeth Banks, but there are many others. Liam Hemsworth is in it, and Hutchinson from Twilight, one of the Twilight people, I think. So there's some other people in there too. I think there's somebody from Divergent in there too, which is weird because there's like crossover, Maze Runner, all of these movies, and some people on the internet are complaining about the dystopian teen movies, going, they're over, it's done. Oh, it's done. No, it's not done. Sorry, guys, still gonna keep going. Yeah, but they could do without it, but no, it's not done. It's just done as far as they're concerned. They'll keep doing them as long as they can make money. So yeah, it's basically more of the same. They basically do the Hunger Games again. It's the 75th one. It's the quarter quell. They put them on the island again, but this time it's shaped kind of like a clock. They have gravity-defying stunts, weird goo, and poisonous, deadly acid fog, and weird stuff going on that doesn't really make any sense. And well, they had wolves chasing them at one point in the other one, but still, it's like a lot of this one was really goofy. There was actually a co-written review by Pop of Sap Productions on there. It says that he didn't like the part where nephew. They didn't like the part where they destroy the bad guy dome thing by electrocuting it with an arrow tied to a wire. And he thought that was like impossible, because if you had an arrow shot from a quiver going think and across the dome to hit the wire with a wire on it to short it out, that not only would they know that was coming, unless they did it on purpose, but the wire would be so taut that once the arrow reached its target, it would simply fall to the ground because all of the momentum would be gone. Yes. This from that then 12-year-old. Yes. So yeah, that plays a lot of video games. That just wouldn't work. So the ending wouldn't work. But I'm guessing that the way they shot it in the movie, they were trying to make it more spectacular. In the book, it makes more sense. In the book, and this is with the other ones. In the book, she goes up to the power thing, and instead of them shooting an arrow into the air, which it breaks the dome, because that wouldn't make sense. One of them threw a bomb, and it hit the dome and went, poof. And then another one, and then she used the arrow to short out the transformer that was on the ground, which makes a little more sense, because then it implies that, okay, the arrow just stuck in the power thing and with the wire stuck to it, and it just shorted the power thing. At the same time, one of them threw a bomb, which makes a little more sense, because then it would be like, oh, okay, they worked together to get out. And also, the character of Heavensby, who was played by Seymour Hoffman, he actually was in on it, so he probably actually is the one that shut it off. So it wasn't really what they were doing. It was he was messing with it already. So that's probably what. So we'll give him that. Why not? It's fantasy anyway. There's no such thing as a Hunger Games anyway. Good thing too. What's strangely ironic about this one here, though, is that the GOP people were all excited about this idea. Oh, this is really cool, dystopia. They liked the idea of cordoning off all the young people and like forcing them into gladiatorial combat. What they didn't realize, though, is that it's clearly a spoof of them. It's the rich elite aristocrat people are in charge and they're running a dictatorship. It's a spoof of the Republicans. It's a spoof of Ayn Randian politics. They have a train running around in it. It's a spoof of Ayn Rand and neocons. That's what it is. And the Democrats are the ones that are left over fighting the games. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not going to work too well. Yeah, your thing is kind of backward. Sort of like when that one political guy got mad about Bane from Batman, thinking it was Bane Capital. It's like, no, it's spelled differently, different guy. Yeah, completely different. But here, same thing. It's like, did you watch it? Because it's not about you. But yes, it was about the Hunger Games. But yes, another thing that was odd that couldn't quite wrap my head around. There were college group people at the church as well, and they really couldn't either. Is some of the older ones, because it's really for younger teenagers. And they were kind of overthinking it, and they were like, no, this is kind of odd that and they were kind of like, discussing at the coffee shop, and they're like, it's kind of odd that like she wants Peeta at all. Peeta is the boyfriend, because he's kind of nuts, and then the bad guys capture him. He's kind of a jerk, and she's kind of out there too. I guess they're meant for each other or something, but it's like, no, it's like, even reading the books, and I had read the books at this point, at least 3 of them at that point, and I was like, wait a second, yeah, he's kind of a lost cause. But many years ago, I read an infamous Victorian era book series. I read the classics, like Wuthering Heights and Emma and that kind of stuff. And in those kind of books, no, you end up with the aristocratic guy that they set you up with because it's Victorian England or whatever. And you have to, So maybe that's what's going on. It's like, okay, it's an arranged thing. They don't have to love each other. They just have to be married. The princess and the prince. And what happens if the prince becomes an ass? But anyway, so that was that's Hunger Games 2, where they go to the island, and I think I covered everything. It was like a clock in the island. They figured that out, and there's a bunch of double crosses and triple crosses. At the end, the bad guys retaliate by destroying District 12, by nuking it. Well, not nuking it, but like firebombing it, so it's still kind of there. At the end, and then Katniss is spirited away when the arrow cracks the building, and of course the spies crack the building. And they get out of the Hunger Game thing and fly her off to District 13, which allegedly was never there. And then we come to Hunger Games, The Mockingjay, Parts 1 and 2. Wow, I didn't review it. Holy shit. Okay, yes. So yes, November of 2014. I might have done a live review and not mentioned review on the blog of Mockingjay Part 1. And yeah, 1 and 2. So in the sequel, I'm going to do 1 and 2 together because it's kind of together. It should have been a 3-hour movie instead of 2-hour movies. They just wanted to make more money, so they did the Twilight thing and they had 2. Or the Harry Potter thing and had 2 when it was 1. They did break it up just before the mountain scene happens. But yeah, it's the books are told from the perspective of the Katniss character, so it's kind of weird seeing it done from the perspective of everyone else, but she's sort of the main character. Like, it's not I did this, I did that. It's they did this, but yeah, main character. They are in District 13 for almost all of the movie, from the first one and the second one, Mockingjay. The scenery chewing has pretty much ended in favor of basically Haymitch's character and Heavensby's character giving her advice while they plan and commit raids on various industrial complexes and then a mountain city thing that leads them to the capital. And they also conduct a rescue of Peeta from the clutches of the evil organization. And only to discover that Peeta, which is a really dumb name for that guy, what were they thinking? But Peeta apparently has been brainwashed by the Tracker Jacker serum so that he wants to kill everyone. And then he proceeds to try to choke Katniss to death. The end of Mockingjay 1 and the beginning of Part 2, she's recovering from that. And needless to say, he doesn't want to go and hang out with him. And he spends the rest of Part 2 sort of pseudo-recovering from the Tracker Jacker serum as they launch an attack on the Capitol. And they don't want to give away everything because you're going to go see it, right? It's in theaters right now. It just came out this Friday. But yeah, if you've read the books, you know what happens. The orange cat is in it again. You'll have to look for the cat. Of course, there's going to be a final showdown with Snow and President Coin, the lady who runs 13, and the one that's doing all the chewing scenery, Elizabeth Banks' character. She's going to be back chewing scenery at the very end. So yeah, she chews some scenery in the beginning of the Part 1, and then again Part 2. For a guy that's dead, Philip Seymour Hoffman has an awful lot of lines in Part 1 and 2. They apparently did get a lot of his scenes done before he died, and thankfully the director did not CGI him to make it look like he was there more. They just gave some of his lines to Haymitch. And as some people have said on young adult forums and the church group, that they really didn't need Heavensby's character anyway, because he's basically a slightly altered version of Haymitch in the book. Anyway, he's virtually the same guy. He gives her advice. That's what he does. So he's another sage guy giving her advice. Like, we don't need 2 of them. But it does suck that he died. We're not saying that, but that, but for real, the character wasn't supposed to. So, and also the director saw an early version of Fast and the Furious 7, in which they had CGI'd in the guy who died in that one, unrelated auto accident, ironically. He said, I am not going to CGI Philip Seymour Hoffman in my movie because it will look stupid. I'm not going to do that. I'll just give it to the Haymitch or someone else. And they also gave some to the cat lady, I think. But yes, the cat lady. Not related to the orange cat. The orange cat's a male. But yes, they go into the city, and yes, the Vox character is in it, in the second Mockingjay 2, the guy with no voice. He does all the sign language and stuff. He's in the second one, so he's in that one, so you get to see him. Also, the mutts are zombies in the second one, which you'll enjoy. So yeah, it's kind of like watching Maze Runner 2, but with Katniss running around. And a crazy guy that wants to kill everyone. But apparently, for some reason, she's still going to fall in love with him at the end, like in the book. And it's like, well, that's in the book, so you know. And it's like, no, he's going to be an abusive husband. He's going to like freak out and have like crazy episode issues in the middle of everything, and he's going to be horrible. It's just a bad idea. You don't yeah, you don't put it crazy, or vice versa. You know, well, crazy put it in you. You know, but I guess some women just like crazy guys. I've encountered that before out there. That some women just like, you know, like to hang around. You know, you hear about it in the news all the time. Is some woman busts some prisoners out of jail so she can hang out with the prisoners or something. Or wants to make babies with them or something, or lets killers out. I was like, what's the deal with that? It's like, why would you want to do that? It's like, no, I'll reform him somehow. He's not really a drunk bastard. He's going to kill me. It's like, no, that's not what happens. Well, I guess in that world, though, in that dystopia, what more do they have? She can't marry Haymitch. That'd be gross. But yeah, Woody Harrelson's old. He's like in his 40s. Oh my God. It's not going to be him. And it's not that other guy. Although you just knew that in a dystopian fantasy where two of the other people get married in it, I forget, the Irish guy and his girlfriend, they get married, and I'm thinking like, oh, they're gonna die. Somebody's gonna die, because no, the dystopian story, anybody gets married, they're gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. I did not say which one, but one of them dies. One of them's gonna die. That's what happens. That's a lot of tropes that happen in there. Very reality TV oriented, very still the same kind of spoof of American Idol crossed with Survivor, crossed with modern politics, done in a future setting, which rarely you see the modern politics being done well as a sort of spoof of television. That's how it's different from Battle Royale. Battle Royale, even though it is also televised, the same thing. In Battle Royale, they're afraid of the teenagers, so they send them there to watch them die, and then they freak out. In the Hunger Games, they send them there to die, and they cover it like news footage, like it's really awesome or something. They're not afraid of it. They're just like twisted. They just want to show it. Kind of like modern news television nowadays. Yeah, but I doubt that it's going to lead to that Hunger Games type of society. I don't think all that paranoia stems from way back in the day during the nuclear things, during the Cold War. This is sort of a retcon of that. They have no Cold War to fight, so they're basically like, okay, we have to write a story where it's sort of a Cold War, but the ambiguous other enemy, the Cronenbergian other enemy, the Lovecraft sort of other enemy, he's out there, you know. They're out to get us, and adulthood is scary, so they're the evil guys. Because when we become adults, we'll be scary. Ooh, that's what it is. Same thing with the X-Men, Avengers, where they're the outcast teenager, awkward people. They have to evolve and defeat getting mature and older and stuff. It has nothing really to do with the dystopian evil society, so much as they're growing up and they don't like it. And they would rather not do that. Which is like when they see like news media stuff. It's completely different. So yeah, I don't think the world is going to end as the result of reality TV and stuff like that. 2012 already happened, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing happened 3 years ago. So all of that stems from that fear as well. That was ridiculous. There are bad guys out there in the world, but if we give them any quarter, then they'll get us. Let's not do that. We don't have to do that. Let's just fight the bad guys. Win. And there won't be a Hunger Games ever. But television not going to go that insane. We're not that crazy. It's sort of like in the early '80s when we discovered, okay, well, yeah, we're not going to nuke each other because that's stupid. Yeah, we have enough weapons to nuke the entire world 10 times over. Oh, that would be a really bad idea. But yeah, and then there's another dystopian thing with Chloe Moretz coming out called The Fifth Wave. And yeah, they decided to skip to part 5 and part 1. So there you go. But, oh yeah, and Allegiant is coming out too. But I haven't seen the other 2 Divergent movies. So I have to watch the other 2 and then see Allegiant. But I did see Maze Runner 2. I've seen all the other ones, and yeah, I've pretty much figured it out. And there are ways that I figured it out. It's always amusing when I see stuff like the Fox News and the Jesse Waters, where he goes out and interviews the young people. He always finds the dumbest young people he can find and interviews them. The ones I encounter aren't nearly that. I don't know where he finds these people. Does he go to the land of, dumb people or something? I don't know. But when he goes to actual real places, then he gets in trouble for other things he's not supposed to do. But it's as long as we allow the people of the as long as we allow like people to take away our freedoms, that's a bad thing. Congress and Senate should have term limits. They should take away the gerrymandering and just say that politicians that live in a certain county, that's where their county for running is, instead of the gerrymandering thing. Term limits for Senate, House, and Senate. That'd be good. So they don't need to stay there forever. And and get out and vote. Everyone should get out and vote, because if you don't vote, you can end up with some goofball being the president. That happened just recently, a couple of times. So you don't want to do that again. And also, so there you go. You don't want to end up with the Hunger Games either. There's your political rant. Related indirectly to the Hunger Games. I don't think it's ever going to become like that, because the dystopian society thing just doesn't work. I think it scares the young people enough that they wouldn't go there, hopefully. So there is the Hunger Games, and I don't think that, So there are some hilarious parodies out there on the internet, though. There's a Hunger Games with cat faces. There's a little Hunger Games thing with cat faces. But also there was a Hunger Games kitten video where the kitten was Katniss, and she was doing archery with this little toy bow. But yes, Katniss. That kitten did not look very happy in that little outfit. It was like, get me out of this outfit or I'm going to claw you. It's like, yeah. But yes, kitty cats and Frozen. Ooh. But you can be politically incorrect. No, don't do that. Hunger Games. Oh yeah, and another thing, Mark's Cards is an archery person. Well, he took some archery. It's an excellent shot because he's a hunter, So yes, but he doesn't actually hunt animals now, just targets. But yes, he said that the girl in the Hunger Games, when she shoots the arrow, she's got it like this. She's got her thumb up like this, the wrong way. And if she did that with her thumb like that on the quick from that's the end of the arrow, the quiver, the quick part, this thing would go and rip all the skin off of her thumb. Yes, so that would have been really bad. And she kind of did that again in the second one, in the last one, where now she had the arrow closer to her face. She had the bowstring strapped like right here. She's gonna rip her ear off. Oh. Like, no, you don't hold it up to your face and go. Hold it out here. Anyway, so something like that. You hold it out here. Yeah. If you're going to shoot an arrow, I think their technology is all over the place in that movie. It's like, wait a second. How did they get all that stuff if they couldn't have any foreign aid from any other countries if they were all gone? They must have not been gone. There must be other countries in the world. It's just that they're not in contact with them. But then they must be, because they can't survive on their own. They don't have the infrastructure unless there's only like 10,000 people on the whole place or something. How do they pull that off? I didn't think that out too well. And how did they have satellites to run the hologram just to get all the images all over the city? Oh well. If you think about it too hard, then it doesn't make any sense. It's fun, but yes. So yeah, go watch the Hunger Games, Mockingjay 1 and 2, together as a unit. Because so watch 1 and then go out and right to. Or wait until 2 comes out. Maybe go to see it in the theater, though, I guess. But yes, I've seen it in the theater. I've read the books, and yes, the books, Colin's books.